First and foremost, all praises go to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, double honors to the apostles, elders, and Akim, great millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect of Yasharallah throughout the four corners of the earth. This is Job chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? I came across this article by The Mirror. It says, Brits warned do not take U.S. meat at any cost, as chlorinated chicken horror exposed. It says, mother and daughter, Sherry Minda, 57, and Carly Hadley, 37, tell of the debilitating effect chlorinated water used to wash the chickens had on them. This picture shows you a perfect example of how Esau treats the animals and how abusive he is. And he has them locked up in these cages where they're all stacked up on top of each other, pooping on top of each other. There's be chickens inside the cages that be dead for months and they never clean them out, to where chickens are supposed to roam free. Animals are supposed to roam free, to where this picture is just one of many examples of how they, treat these beautiful creatures. It says, former inspectors, oh, that's the spirit, there's 144 on the comics. All praises go to Yahweh by Shemau Shai. It says, former inspectors have warned Boris Johnson not to put British people at risk for the sake of a trade deal with the U.S. It says, two former U.S. government food inspectors today tell of the conditions inside America's poultry processing plants, revealing the horrific effect. And you can find all types of videos of how they treat these animals, to where there's this one video by this lady. I think the title of the video is called Dairy is Scary. It's a brutal video, but you have to watch it because it shows you exactly how Esau is treating these animals. It says, two former U.S. government food inspectors today tell of the conditions inside America's poultry processing plants, revealing the horrific effect the chemicals used had on their health, and warning Britain, do not take our meat at any cost. Mother and daughter Sherry Minda, 57, and Carly Hadley, 37, tell of the debilitating effect chlorinated water used to wash the chickens had on them, but claim the use of parasitic acid as a cleanser was far more dangerous. Sherry became so ill through her exposure to it, she almost died twice. Oh, wow. It says, at one point, her family were so certain they would lose her, they planned her funeral, choosing her burial spot and having her headstone made. Wow. Look at that. It says, Carla has been left with chronic respiratory problems and suffered facial sores. She blames the drugs that were used to treat her for the death of her unborn daughter 8 months into the pregnancy 8 years ago. It says, Sherry, who needs a cocktail of oxygen and drugs to stay alive, says of the chicken plants, the chemicals they are using are debilitating. And this is her right here. Carla Hadley has been left with chronic respiratory problems. It says, they leave people like me with crippling conditions. God only knows, Yahweh by Shemau Shai only knows what they do to the people who eat them. It says, peers would do well to read of the shocking practices Sherry and Carla claim they witnessed in their 26 years in the U.S. poultry plants before the Lord discusses the agriculture bill today. The Commons last week struck down a Lord's amendment to the bill to force a post-Brexit U.S. trade deal to meet UK animal welfare and food safety rules. Pressure is piling on the UK to accept chlorine-washed chicken, but this goes to show you how much Esau sucks as being a king, as being a ruler or a leader. He has to add all these different things, spray all these chemicals on food, on grass and trees and the air, because he's a piece of shit, and he doesn't know how to rule a kingdom. And the only way for people to eat, or for chickens to be cleaned and washed off, Esau resorts to, mad scientist type tactics, where he's spraying it with all these types of chemicals that's literally, it's killing people. That's why it's so important, like the brothers bring out, that's why it's so important to pray over your food and ask Yahweh Shema Shai, whether it's your food, your drink, or food or drink, pray that Yahweh Shema Shai remove all the foulness and the wickedness, that's whether it's been processed through all these types of chemicals. Ask Yahweh Shema Shai to please remove those toxic chemicals. It says pressures piling on the UK to accept chlorine washed chicken from the US or face possible retaliatory action, such as a ban on Scottish salmon imports. You know how they have the farm-raised salmon, and I believe they alter farm-raised salmon. They mix it in. They add genes from eels and other types of sea life that they shouldn't be doing. But that's the devil. That's just another example why this devil's being taken down each and every day. And very soon, it's going to be an end once and for all, to where no longer will he be able to harm humans, harm animals, harm our planet, all type of life. Esau, like the scriptures say, Esau hates life. So this is just a perfect example that Esau, it was never meant to rule, to where he's had his time to rule, and he perfectly showed why he was never meant to get the birthright, because this kingdom is a perfect example why Esau was never meant to get the kingdom, because look how he treats this kingdom that he has now. He's destroying the planet. He's killing the people. The first and foremost, he's put his hands on God's chosen people, Yasharallah, the 12 tribes, to where we know why Esau was sent after us, because Esau's a tool. Yahweh Shema Shai, sent the devil after us because we disobeyed the law, statutes, and commandments. We went against Yahweh Shema Shai's rules, and we were punished for it, to where Esau went overboard on the punishment, to where just so many different things that are coming out of the types of abominable things that Esau did to us during chain slavery, and is still doing to us today, to where each and every day you're finding out new stories and new evidence and accounts of what Esau was putting our people through. And it says, Sherry and Carla say accepting chlorine washed chicken will come at a price, talking in detail of the unacceptable wholesale use of chemicals they say made them gravely ill with lifelong conditions and left chicken unsafe to eat. Former colleagues have told them conditions in the plants have only got worse, with increasing speeds in production lines, placing even more reliance on the chemicals. And I believe this is all the medication this lady has to take, and her oxygen tanks in that box, all due to having to put chemicals on chicken, which shouldn't need to be done. But Esau, he sucks so bad, he doesn't know how to raise chickens right and clean them the proper way, to where he results to the quick and fast, just like when he wanted the stew from Jacob, he wants it quick and fast. So instead of letting the chicken or animals grow naturally, he's injecting them with all these steroids, and then once he decides to make them kill them and clean them and put them in the processing plants, he puts all this these toxic chemicals just to get it out there fast, to where, like I believe one of the brothers from LA said, that's why you got fast food. That's from Esau, because Esau always wants his food fast, to where that's where you get fast food from. It says one of the women's New York colleagues, Jose Navarro, 37, died from lung damage. His family blamed exposure to the chemicals used on the birds, and his death triggered a U.S. government investigation that raised questions about the health risk associated with a rise in the use of toxic bacteria-killing chemicals. It says Sherry and Carla say that every week they witness thousands of chickens passing into the food chain that were not fit for human consumption. There you go. Despite their protests, they claim plant bosses pressured staff. It's a lot. Pressured staff to overlook such issues, often refusing to stop the processing lines when asked to do so. More than 140 birds a minute currently pass through a factory's evisceration line, with inspectors tasked to oversee every chicken. Sherry, who was forced into early retirement because of the chronic health conditions she developed, says, I would physically touch and inspect every third bird. It says chickens arriving at a food plant. I would see 91 birds a minute, inspecting 33 of them. It says I would see 93 birds a minute, inspecting 33 of them. So from what it sounds like, she wasn't even able to inspect all the birds. She was only able to inspect a handful, or just a couple. It says the process now sees 140 birds per minute. When you grab a bird and you go into the cavity, you flip up that fat. When I saw fecal matter, a burst gallbladder, or other bacteria, I would order it be removed to be rewashed. They physically should take the bird off the line and cut out the dirt so it was clean, but because of the speed, they couldn't keep up. So many were allowed through. It was and continues to be entirely wrong, and I refuse to stay quiet. On any given day, I could order 1,000 birds to be cleaned again, as I was so concerned. At one point, management came to me and told me I couldn't do what I was doing. There you go. I told them they had fecal matter inside. They said, Sherry, you're picking too many off. That goes, there you go, right there. That's the devil. You have to stop refusing so many. So basically, she was warning them, hey, we shouldn't allow these chickens to go through because they look infected. And her manager was like, so, we got to make that money. This goes to show you the devil. It says the manager then said they get sprayed again later down the line, lie down. You must let it go. It is parasitic acid he meant, which they use to kill the bacteria, but they still leave the fecal matter on the bird. It then goes on to the processing to be cut up, battered, and packaged before then being sent out. So, like the brothers, the prophets Yahweh Shema Shai bring out, always pray over your food to where, like you got Whole Foods and other organic stores that portray like they have like their chicken's 100% organic, and that it was grass fed, or it's never been sprayed down with any chemicals, that it was like free roaming chicken. It's always good to look for those things, but still even pray over organic foods, because with all the chemicals that Esau sprays in the air, it can reach any type of farm that's just trying to keep everything natural, to where always pray over your food, whether it's organic or just, the cheaper versions of chicken that you can get at other stores, to where pray over all your food, whether it be organic or just what they call regular, which is disturbing in itself. All food should be real and organic, but the fact that you go inside of a store and you see two types of bananas, you see the bananas that you usually buy, then you see the organic bananas, to where it's like, wait a minute, what's the difference? Why is one organic and the other one is just a regular banana? All foods should be organic, but in the kingdom, everything's going to be put in the rightful order, to where no longer will Esau have a say in anything when it comes to, for example, food being, given to people. Everything's going to be fresh on the spot. It's going to be caught that day. It's going to be hunted that day. It's not going to be put through a conveyor line being sprayed with all types of chemicals. That's Esau's Frankenstein show that he has going on over here, but that won't be going on in the kingdom. Everything's going to be 144% yappa. It says, it then goes on to the processing to be cut up, battered, and packaged before then being sent out to the markets. It's a sherry who needs cocktail of oxygen and drugs to stay alive. It is like taking a pile of cow manure, spraying it with parasitic acid before frying and saying that it is now safe to eat. It is not. Sherry needed to have 8 operations after working at the plant in Alabama for just a year. She has lost 25% of her lung capacity, had to have a hysterectomy and rectal repair. Wow. And has ongoing sinus problems and organ damage. At one point, she was coughing so hard she broke 2 ribs. Sherry says, my breakfast is a cocktail of drugs that I will be on for the rest of my life. When the asthma attacks began, they became so bad, I tore everything loose inside. Other U.S. Department of Agriculture inspectors like Sherry and Carla, as well as poultry plant workers, have blamed chemical exposures for a range of ailments, including asthma and other severe respiratory problems, burns, rashes, irritated eyes, and sinus ulcers. And it says, should the UK allow American meat into the country? No. It says, have your say in the comments. And it's not just, Babylon. All the food is defiled all throughout the 4 corners of the earth, to where the very few places where Esau hasn't, been, trying to set up like a plant where they do all these horrific things. Like you got like the islands and parts of Brazil, parts of Mexico. Those are the very few places. You can still find places where they don't do all that wicked crap, but still, no matter where you go, always pray over your food. To where this article is a prime example that Esau's the devil. This is just one of many examples. Oh, here it continues. It says, Carla Sintra at work at a plant. Yeah, this is her at the plant that she worked at. It says, Sherry and Carla saw employees with the skin on their arms dissolved by the chemicals so the bones were visible. Whoa, it says Sherry and Carla saw employees with the skin on their arms dissolved by the chemicals so the bones were visible. They also saw staff collapse on the production line if ventilation was poor. Speaking for the first time, Carla tells how feces, the green pus from burst gallbladders, and remnants of fungus, aspergillus and fungitis, which looks like chopped up fried eggs. Oh my goodness. This is wow. It says in a carcass and can cause lung infection in people with lowered immune system, all passed beyond inspectors on the supermarket shelves. Carla says it does not matter how many baths they go through or what they are bathed in, there is always going to be feces and other matter in the birds, as it is so overproduced and can't be adequately checked. Thousands slip through the process, and the managers across the industry do nothing. The meat is not fit for human consumption. There were times an entire batch of birds on the line was not fit for market, but despite saying they must all be removed, we were overruled by the plant's managers. They run the plants like the mafia. The industry is so big they ride roughshod over our rulings. Says Sherry. Oh yeah, says Sherry's family were so certain they would lose her, they had her headstone made. Yeah, because early in the article it said that she almost died twice, nearly died twice, 2 times. It says she says the birds arrived at the plant alive, often with ammonia, because that's the conditions that they keep in. Those are just chickens. You got chickens, you got cows, you got turkeys. They got pigs, but that's swine. You're not supposed to eat swine. but they treat those animals horrific too. They're you're not supposed to be eating those animals. Those are that's an abominable food. To where they treat all of the Earth's animals with horror. It says often with ammonia burns from sitting in their excrement. It says once inside they were shackled upside down before being dazed and electrified. In that movie, that YouTube video by that girl is called Dairy Scary, gives you an example. It's a brutal video, but it's important to watch. Learn. You got to see the truth of what's really going on. It says, once inside, they were shackled upside down before being dazed in being dazed in electrified water, and then having their necks cut. It says they are then dunked in chlorine vats, gutted by hand, and then sprayed with parasitic acid. Carla and Sherry now refuse to buy chicken processed in the U.S. Sherry drives to a market an hour from home to buy free, but that goes into it. What I was saying earlier. Even if you go to an organic food store, still pray over all your food, because all of our food's defiled, whether it's organic or the regular, whatever they want to call it. It says she knows it has not. She knows it has not been fed with hormones by its size. She says, I buy 3 to 4 pound birds, but to where when you. It's a lot. It says she says I buy 3 to 4 pound birds, not these monstrous. Oh yeah, I remember. I think I was in some grocery store. It was either Stater Brothers or Ralph's or Vaughn's, and I passed by this chicken. This chicken's leg and its thigh was so massive. I was like, is this a bodybuilder chicken? Like, what was this chicken doing? Like, this is insane compared to the chickens that I used to see, like, or I used to eat, like, early 2000, like 90s area. I don't remember the chickens being that big, but now 2020 chickens are on a whole nother level. It says she knows it has not been fed with hormones by its size. She says, I buy 3 to 4 pound birds, not these monstrous 10 lb 7-week-old ones. And it says, how is that possible to grow that big in such a short space of time, unless they are feeding it something that is not natural? It says, in a direct message to PM Boris Johnson, both women warn him not to put British people at risk for the sake of trade deal, but he doesn't care. And if he does say, we won't take their chickens, they'll still take their chickens. As long as there's money involved, Esau will take it. He does not care about people's health, to where even if Boris Johnson says, we're refusing, like if there's a news article, we're refusing to take these chickens, he's going to end up taking the chickens anyway, because he sees that dollar sign to accept that crap. It says, both women warn him not to put British people at risk for the sake of a trade deal with the U.S. Sherry says it would be unforgivable to allow U.S. chicken in your country. Carla says plants only care about money. There you go. You may as well be drinking a gallon of bleach if you allow what I saw onto your shelves. The owners of the processing plant where Sherry and Carla work declined to comment, of course, because they know they're guilty. It says America's National Chicken Council claimed the U.S. chicken industry prides itself on providing some of the safest, most abundant, most wholesome poultry products in the world. Chlorine is barely used as a food safety wash in processing plants in the U.S. It is rather used to clean and sanitize equipment. Parasitic acid is a food-grade antiseptic that kills bacteria and microorganisms. Parasitic acid is applied to carcasses at concentration less acidic than products commonly found in kitchen cabinets. So it says American National Chicken Council claimed, yeah, they're lying. It says Tony Warham, chicken farmer in hire an NFU poultry board chairman said, "The next time you sit down to your Sunday roast chicken, spare a moment to consider why UK farmers want the government to back our industry, not undermine us in trade deals." It says animal welfare, environmental protection, and food safety top every farmer's priority list. These standards are embedded in everything we do. On my farm, buildings are as energy efficient and clean as possible. Chicks are fed a diet of wheat, oilseed rape, and soya from accredited feed mills, and we've had strict hygiene standards. They live in an environment of warmth and light. UK farmers take pride in standards, and that means prevention, not a chlorine wash cure. It's a shame that the same can't be said about other counterparts around the world. And with that, I want to give all praises to Yahweh by Shemau Shai, dove honors to the apostles, elders, and Akim of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the elect of Yasharallah throughout the four corners of the earth. I pray that this video was edifying. Shalom.